going to be almost a regular episode, but there's going to be a bit of an addition. So, if you may remember from a couple episodes ago, our guest, Megan, is back to talk with us some more. Say
Hi,
hello.
everybody.
And so, I thought that we would go a little more in depth about the pregnancy kink that you mentioned on the last time you were on.
Okay.
Because I know that there's probably more to it than what you could get into, considering that wasn't the topic. So, what all does that cover?
For me right now, it is just the act of intentionally trying to get me pregnant because it's risque and I was raised that, kids are a blessing, but it's also you have to plan out properly because kids are friggin' expensive. So for me, it's more of like, even though we're not supposed to, and that even though I'm on birth control and everything, there's still that chance we could get pregnant on purpose. And it raises like just the level of how everything is, and it makes everything more intense and more passionate and everything because it's like, will this work? Will it work? Will it work?
Okay, so does it involve the possibility of accidental pregnancy, or is it all based around intentional?
Can do both, but for me, the one that I'm in right now is intentionally getting pregnant. Like, we don't have the resources right now, we don't have the time, but still, like, we way raw dog it and then just trying to get pregnant anyway.
But what exactly would the difference be between having a pregnancy kink and just trying to get pregnant?
Yeah. Not entirely sure. For me, I think it's just difference between like a regular pregnancy kink is just wanting to have sex with a pregnant woman who is already going in their full term, as opposed to the risk of intentionally getting somebody pregnant. It is a
Okay.
little confusing. I'm still figuring it out myself.
Well, that's fine. At some point, maybe we'll find somebody who has been involved in this particular lifestyle more and can go into more. But, like, is there, when you have intercourse and you aren't using protection, like you're on the birth control, but that's its own thing. But if you aren't using any other kind of protection, like no condom, no diaphragm, no
Right.
pull out, like it's just full on going for it to full climax, does that heighten the experience knowing that there's a risk, even with birth control, that you could get pregnant, or is it just the thought from the start?
For me, it's more of the risk is heightened there because honestly, the only way of, not getting pregnant is abstinence. And there is, with my birth control, there's like a 10 to 20% chance that even though I'm on it and it's implanted in my arm, that there is still a chance you can get pregnant. Because me right now, that's literally my only form of birth control. So if I was to get pregnant on it, then it would need to immediately come out of my arm, and then we'd have to immediately go to a doctor. But that's the only form of birth control we're using right now. Like, there's no condoms, no diaphragm, no birth control pills, no let's pull out technique, none of that. It's just, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I am on my birth control not to prevent pregnancy, but just it was to help with my periods.
Well, I've heard that a few times from other people, but it's just a matter of when you get to the end of the act of sexual intercourse and he has reached his climax. Even if you haven't, does the fact that he does help push you farther towards yours, or if you have, does it increase yours? Because most kinks that I've heard of, there is either a more pronounced sexual experience involved with it or an entirely new sexual experience attached to it. So is this, does this make it to where, like, sex is one thing, but the climax pushes it to a new level? Or is it just like a completely different feeling?
To me, it's a little bit of both because whenever my partner gets off, that just makes me feel like I'm on top of the friggin' world. Because I don't feel like I've done my job properly unless he comes. And I know that sometimes anatomically it just doesn't work out that way, but that just makes me strive to work harder to make him come because I feel like I just my job as a partner to help with stress relief. And you gotta come, buddy. But to me, it helps heighten it at the end. Like if he's come and I either have or haven't, it kind of helps push me closer to the edge because it's like when he's reached his end and he's just moaning and in a good spot, it just helps kind of push me over the edge most of the time.
Okay. So that sounds like we've pretty much covered what we can cover with your level of knowledge, because it's still more than what I had going into this.
Right.
All right. So a small bit of an announcement. With Courtney, my initial co-host, still being unavailable due to military operations, I mean, she's just in a point where she doesn't have internet connection. So it's gotten to the point where it's getting hard to record because I don't really have a co-host, and the questioning becomes a little complicated just with myself. So I felt I needed a female perspective, and Megan has agreed to be a co-host to help out when is needed and, offer that perspective that I don't have. I figure it'll be a fairly interesting experience because I've seen her reactions to some of the wilder aspects of kink and fetish lifestyles, so it'll be only a
No
matter of
kink
time
shame, but
before we
no
get the
kink
one that just
shame.
completely shuts her down.
No kink shame, but no kink shame. I will do my best.
Yeah, this is a completely open space, full acceptance, no shame. But again, it's a matter of having a female perspective that I cannot have myself. And schedules being what they are, it's good to have another person in the team that can fill in if others can't. There may be times that it's Megan and Courtney talking to somebody when I'm unavailable, which won't be very likely, but you never know what's going to happen. And Danielle may still be filling in from time to time just because she lives with me, and that's just convenient. So this is our team for the time being, and we hope to be able to provide you with a good show, and we hope that we get more audience interaction, because it'd be good to know what you want to hear and what questions you want asked. I'm going to start putting up on Twitter the subjects of upcoming shows so that if anybody wants to ask the questions in Twitter for me to ask the guest, then I'll have those. So be on the lookout for that. As usual, Twitter will be in the show notes, and also a link to our Patreon to help us get better equipment, because as of right now, we're all working off of our laptops with pretty basic headsets, so there's still going to be some audio issues. But if we can get better equipment, then we get better quality shows and everybody wins. But yeah, we will have all of that in the show notes. I wanted to add in a thank you to Larry and Zachary Hale, our financial supporters over on Patreon and Anchor, which is going to start helping us get better stuff.
You guys are the real MVPs.
This is true. And I will be looking forward to talking with Megan more, and we will be talking to you at our next episode, which I'm not sure what it'll be at this point, but it should be good. So thank you, Megan.
Do more femdom stuff. I think it's like the financial abuse thing you were telling me about.
I'm still trying to find somebody who actually knows about that is willing to come on the show and talk about it. But as soon as I can, I'll make sure that you're the co-host for that one, because I know you're really interested in that.
Yeah.
So until then, everybody stay safe and make sure you keep your communication going. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ludiverse podcast. You can send comments and questions to us on Twitter at LudiverseP. If you like the show, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast app of choice.